All right, this is Skip Robinson from the Rhetoric Center. He's going to tell you a little bit about it.
Thank you, Dr. Spears. I am from the Center for Rhetoric and Professional Development. We are the only college in the Rousseau group that has such a center. And we're glad that the Oklahoma State Regents for Higher Education picked us out to be the trailblazer for this effort. Because the two goals that we have are very important to you and your career. Number one is to offer to students campus-wide the opportunity to develop elevated skill levels in writing and speaking. And number two, to guide and encourage our pre-professional students as you prepare to take entrance exams into various professional schools or to graduate school. These are noble and very broad goals. You might say, first of all, what in the world is rhetoric? I'll answer that question first. And secondly, I'll answer, what does that have to do with me? What in the world is rhetoric? About 500 BC in Greece, there were itinerant teachers called rhetors who went from town to town teaching proper form, reading the literature of the day, debating subjects such as the nature of reality, and teaching debating and reasoning techniques. They were called rhetors, and hence we get the term rhetoric from it. It originally meant public speaker. But over the years, as the evolution of the discipline continued, rhetoric reached out and embraced the written word as well as the spoken word. So what we have now is a double-headed monster, writing and speaking. And to be a rhetorician, you have to be able to snap both heads off this monster, okay? Now, the second question, how does that affect me? Have you ever heard of the Business Roundtable? That is an organization of CEOs that gets together to try to determine what causes businesses to fail, what causes them to succeed, among a variety of other things. Recently, they surveyed 120 businesses with 8 million employees. Here's what they found. 80% of those businesses said they considered communication skills in the initial hiring of employees, 80%. 50% of them said once employees were on board, before they promoted anybody, they considered communication skills once again. Now, Dr. Spears is concerned about you. He wants you to have a strong skill set in BIM. But he also realizes that you can get out there in the business world and plateau because of lack of communication skills. And that's what has prompted my invitation to be with you today, which I appreciate so much, Dr. Spears. He serves on our advisory council at the Center for Rhetoric and Professional Development. And to underline that, do you remember the banker who stood up at our last meeting as we discussed a variety of things? He stood up and said, I'm going to hire someone this afternoon. And he said, it's going to boil down to communication.
Yeah.
I'm going to hire somebody this afternoon. So this is about you, not about me. I've had the course, but it's about you and it's about your career. And that's what I'm doing over here, and that's why Dr. Spears has been so generous to lend me your time. Now, communication is vital to business majors, finance majors, accounting majors, marketing majors, in a way that was not thought of 25 years ago. CPAs didn't have to write at all. You're going into CPA, you'll have a writing section on your exam to get into graduate school. Tell you a secret, don't tell my English people, but I'm from the world of business. I had a long and happy career in the world of business before I started my very happy career as a college professor. So those of you who have a heart for business, marketing and communication, accounting, etc., I understand you. But business is not the only discipline in which oral communication is vital or important. This will be interesting to you. It comes from a recent survey done through Johns Hopkins that concludes with this statement. Of all the skills a physician should have, communication is the one that is least comprehensively taught. Not only is communication vital in the serious area, but it's vital in the sports arena, which can get pretty serious sometimes. I have a picture here of a man, can't see it very well, standing in front of Texas Stadium, or where they had the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. He played his football right down the way here at Paul Laird Field. He is an employee of the NFL. He has a 40-year record of refereeing, and now he's the man with his finger on the time clock. And he is the timekeeper for all the NFL games at Texas State. He tells a funny story. He was keeping time for the Big 12 championship game a few years ago. You might remember Texas was playing Nebraska. Yeah. And in that game, it was won by Texas on a last-second field goal. And Mr. Ely said there was 8 seconds left on my clock, and I had no alternative but to round it to 1 second. And that, as you know, Texas kicked the field goal and won the game. Jokingly, he said Tom Osborne was looking for me. But that has not been his career. He has a very celebrated career in his life. Here's for the kicker. A man named Jerry Weissman was invited by a friend of his who was at the time president of the Compaq Computer Corporation to a conference in Silicon Valley. Mr. Weissman listened to the various speakers and said that I was either bored, frightened, or offended at how they expressed themselves. He said some of them talked like Valley girls. This is a totally hot IPO. And long story short, Mr. Weissman developed a school of communication for CEOs, teaching only a portion of what you will learn in English 4973 or Communication 4973. These are elective courses which will be will count towards your graduation as upper division credit, but they are elective courses. Next spring, the English courses will be offered on Tuesday, Thursday, hopefully to get a bigger crowd. The communication course will be offered Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock. Okay? Now, Mr. Weissman teaches a few basic facts, Aristotelian approach, etc. He charges each student $5,000 for a 4-day week. We're in the wrong business, Dr. Spears. But I do want those of you who want to develop elevated skill levels in writing and speaking and are a bit fearful, do not be afraid. We will begin at the beginning. Yes, you will be asked to recite, but you will never be embarrassed. I'm the professor. I assure you that. You will not be embarrassed. Some of you are saying, oh, but my writing is not good. I don't know the difference between lie, lay, sit, sat, affect, effect, who and whom throws me for a loop. And when I write, it worries me. And you need to get in one of these courses, and we'll begin at the very beginning with this simple little book called Proper Form, Pure and Simple. I give a diagnostic tool. It's called First Day Fun, but students know it's not First Day Fun. They know it's a diagnostic tool. This year, First Day Fun told us that out of 20 pronoun choices, all the students averaged together got 10.6 correct out of 20. that tells me that every other pronoun form you choose is going to be incorrect. And what's that going to look like on a piece of prose that you write in your business or that your boss requires? And you might be asked to write on the spot. And you might be asked to write something that you don't really know a whole lot about. And you cannot bow out and say simply, I can't write very well, or I need a little time. Your boss is not going to ask you anymore. If he's on his way to a board meeting, he comes by and he said, will you write a letter of condolence to Susie Smith in accounting? She lost her dad this week. I'll pick it up on my way back. She said, what, Mr. Leona? Will you write that? She'll take care of it. Who's going to get the raise in 6 months? It'll be Leona, but she's going to be the one who knows how to write. People can write or they can't write. If you can't write and you want to learn to write, there'll be a number of activities that will be assigned to you of a specific nature. My pre-med students have certain in-class writings. My pre-farm students have certain in-class writings. My business students can have certain in-class writings. Let me tell you why. Am I running over?
No.
Let me tell you why. If you're taking the MCAT test to get into medical school, it's different from any essay writing assignment you've ever had in Southeastern. I know because I taught freshman English for 7 years. I used to go in and assign them one subject for them to write on the entire period, and that's fine. That's a good exercise. You can learn much from it. But these MCAT students, they go in, sit down, they're given an essay question with 3 parts. Bang, bang, bang. Finish it in 35 minutes. When they're finished, they give them another one, 3 parts, 35 minutes, bang, bang, bang. If they're writing along 20 minutes into it and they're still on point 1 of the first essay, they're going to come out looking like they don't know anything. They need to learn to practice to budget their time. And they need to learn to organization and have it right up here so that, bang, they know just exactly where to go with all 3 of these approaches to writing, okay? The first is, well, I'm not going into that. I don't have time to go into that.
All right.
But still, the most important thing I had was a Beetle Bailey. Most important, he will drive the point home. He is sitting out under a tree. He's not sitting out under a tree. He's sitting under a tree. And he says to himself, I think, therefore I am. Rene Descartes stripped himself of all learning, and that's the only thing he could come up with. He thought, therefore he said, I be. The next one drives home our point. As he reclines against the tree, Eagle says to himself, but if I could talk, I'd be the man. If you could talk, you'll be the man. If you take these courses, we hope that we can help you learn to talk and learn to communicate. Thank you, Jim, very much. Thank you, class.
Thank you.
The office is in Science 114, right inside the front door. Should you want to visit about your future, visit about the courses, drop by. I'm there every day, and you're welcome to come.